MSD podcast from a husband and wife's life-threatening violent encounter at the hands of a gang of violent criminals. This podcast is taken from a full interview conducted for CQC Times that can be found on cqctimes.com under real-life experiences. The husband and wife identities will not be disclosed, and they will be referred to as Fred and Wilma in this podcast. Wilma was trained by a Todd Group instructor of the rank of Phase 3 Specialist Proponent. This criminal assault happened in South Africa. The duration of this violent incident was between 10 and 15 minutes. There were between 10 and 12 male aggressors. Fred felt uneasy when their Uber driver stopped at an unfamiliar location, and when they got out, he informed the driver, "This is not where we asked to go," and kept the vehicle door open, but the driver sped off, leaving them there. They tried to make their way to a well-lit, camered public building, but were told it was closing. Fred felt that something was wrong, and they decided to head back towards their apartment. They decided to go back from the direction they had come. There were a few men on the pathway ahead, so they had to change their direction. It was when they changed their direction that the group of males come from behind and the assault was initiated. Their aggressors approached from behind, then surrounded them and tried to split them apart. There were two men on either side of Fred, and they were holding his arms. Before Wilma could say anything, 5 men grabbed her and started to carry her away. They were taking Wilma towards a park, and she knew what their intention was. Their hands were all over her body, trying to rip her clothes off. Fred was not only being held by the men, but one man was holding him at knife point and told him what they intended to do to them. They told him they were going to rob and kill him and take his wife away and rape her. As soon as Fred realized they were carrying Wilma away, he started to fight, do anything he could to get away and save his wife. Wilma started yelling as loud as she could in an effort to get assistance and let anyone around them know they were in danger. Wilma started kicking and punching, doing everything she could to try and get her feet back on the ground and make them put her down. She lashed out with such force she managed to break their grip and get her feet back on the ground, and immediately started stamp kicking at their knees and kneeing them in their groins. Wilma continued to yell and scream to raise the alarm, and 2 men tried to strangle her to silence her. She grabbed one of the attacker's wrists and the other's throat, digging her acrylic nails in as deep as she could until they let go. The assaulters continuously tried to get her clothes off. They unbuttoned and unzipped her pants, but they could not get her belt off. Wilma was surrounded, and there was one man that had hold of her so tightly she could not break his grip. Coming from nowhere, an elderly man hit the attacker that had the tight grip on her, providing a split second to break free, turn around, knee him in the groin, and stamp kick his leg from the outside. Fred was fighting for his life and to get free to save Wilma. He was punched many times, hit with a metal bar, and attacked with a knife. Fred kept struggling, kept fighting, and managed to do considerable harm to multiple attackers by punching, elbowing, doing everything he could until he managed to break free and go to Wilma's aid. Fred yelled at Wilma's attackers, grabbed her arm, pulled her free, and they ran to get away. They ran for between 5 and 10 minutes until they come in contact with a young man and his grandmother, who took them straight to the police station. This brave husband and wife fought hard for themselves and for each other for between 10 and 15 minutes. The criminal lowlifes that targeted them did not care about them or their safety, and it leaves little doubt that they would have killed Fred and raped and possibly killed Wilma. They tried to steal their wedding rings and Wilma's engagement ring, but they didn't manage to get them off their hands, off their fingers. They had taken Wilma's watch. However, when Fred ran to her aid and yelled at them, it must have startled them, and she managed to rip it back from their grasp. During this violent assault, Fred and Wilma continuously tried to have eyes on each other and get to each other, knowing that if they could help each other, they may be able to break free and get away. After the assault, they checked on their injuries and what had been taken, and they found that these lowlifes could only manage to steal Fred's phone and Wilma's earrings. Such was the fight they put up to protect themselves and get away. Fred kept shouting to Wilma, telling her that it was going to be all right and that we're going to make it out and that he would come to her and get her out. This helped Wilma keep a cool head in the situation, and it helped her to keep fighting even though the attackers kept coming and kept attacking her. After the incident, they were told by the police that this was a serious criminal gang renowned for killing and robbing their victims. They were known for using knives and guns, and attacked females were never found. This was a planned attack in many ways, with the driver and the violent assaulters and the time being the only 5-minute period when the police change over shifts and no police officers would be present at the location. These organised criminals all spoke the same language and operated as a pack, having committed such crimes numerous times before. Wilma said it was difficult to use her hands or elbows as her attackers had hold of her and had seized and secured her arms and were holding so tightly. She kicked and kneed them and used her nails to good effect. Wilma used a lot of the skills she had learnt from her self-defense course, selecting skills that fitted with available targets. She tried to use her skills, dropping her centre of gravity and taking advantage of using her large muscles, her hips, her thighs, her legs and boots to swing forward and backward to break their grip. But it was difficult with not only attackers holding her but also surrounding her. She never gave up, and when one advantage was taken away, she found another target and just simply kept going, knowing she had to fight to stop them and get away. Fred said he just kept striking them, punching their faces, elbowing them, and kept moving, and always trying to move towards Wilma. Whatever target was presented, he would punch or strike it and keep moving to break free and get to his wife Wilma. They said the attackers were surprised at their aggression and fight back, and some hesitated or stalled, while others became more aggressive. The fight they put up appeared to interfere with their modus operandi and make them scramble and have to change tack, possibly causing confusion amongst their ranks. Fred and Wilma are both very competitive people, determined and disciplined, and they definitely do not like to lose. They are stubborn and didn't give up. Wilma describes them both as people that can act fast and make quick decisions when necessary. They both keep fit, training at the gym several days a week, and Fred is very strong. They work together well as a team right from the outset, and both had made the decision from the immediate point in time when they found themselves under assault that they would fight and not give in at any cost. Any doubt in Wilma's mind when she felt the enormity of the situation made it helpless was quickly taken away when she heard Fred yell out, "Don't worry, we're going to get away from this. I will come and save you, get you." Fred describes himself as competitive, but not normally aggressive. He has never done any self-defense or fight training before. Although Fred was being held by multiple attackers and they had a knife to him, threatening to kill him and rape Wilma, he knew he had to do everything to stop them. The situation was so extreme that afterwards they couldn't believe they had fought their way out and that they were both physically all right, despite bruises, scratches, and the pain from the effects of the assault. Physically, they were both shocked, and Wilma was trembling and had a really bad anxiety attack. Fred could hardly breathe when they got to safety through physical and mental exhaustion from the enormity of the violent assault and the pounding he had taken in his ribs and abdomen. Their combined mental toughness and physical fitness, along with Wilma's learnt self-defense skills and Fred's strength and physicality, putting everything behind his punches, made them truly formidable foes and able to not only survive but defeat their violent criminal attackers by ensuring they were not able to do to them what they wanted and get what they wanted from them. All Todd Group instructors must come up through the ranks, completing mandatory training hours and passing grueling testing phases before they can be considered for assistant instructor and instructor under assessment, training and testing. And all depot instructors have been trained, tested and qualified by Todd Group HQ, and this ensures the same high standards are provided by all Todd Group HQ and depot instructors. And this is important when skills need to be used under dire life-threatening situations like that of which Fred and Wilma faced. Military self-defense and military close-quarters combat has been developed for life or death situations, and as such provides not only soldiers but also civilians under life and death threats with the physical skills capabilities to defeat formidable foes. We take our responsibility as caretakers of the doctrine and training packages very seriously, and always ensure our understudies are trained in the most current primary practices of threat neutralization. The most important ingredient is the individual's mental toughness, inner resolve, and intestinal fortitude under violent threat, and both Fred and Wilma showed just how determined they were to save themselves and each other, testament to their mental toughness and uncompromising will to win and not merely survive a violent assault.